Hey everybody, Kyle Kuhn here. Hope you're having a great Thursday morning. As some of you may be aware, I've got a pretty big weekend coming up. This Sunday, June 27th, 2021, is the PATCO, or I should say Pan American Continental Championships, and they are taking place in Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin, this year, and it is a major selection event for the United States. In determining who is going to be going to the Paralympics in August for the sport of paratriathlon. So, what I wanted to do is there's been a lot of information, kind of speculation, being tossed out there. I've seen some athletes call this a Paralympic trials. I've seen, and then I've gotten a lot of questions from family and friends, saying like, how do you go to, how are you making it to Tokyo, et cetera. And what I wanted to do was just do this video. I'll explain it as quickly as possible. Basically my interpretation of how USA Triathlon is going to be selecting the team that goes to Tokyo, et cetera. But really what I wanted to do is I wanted this to be just kind of an informational video, kind of explaining the paratriathlon process and what sport classes are competing for spots to Tokyo for the Paralympics, and then over the next few days, what I wanted to do was I'll probably put out some videos talking about some of the storylines and some of the races and athletes to watch for this weekend. Now I've done videos in the past where I've picked winners and podium finishers and all that. I'm not going to do that for this race because I'm racing in this race, and I don't pick races where I'm racing. But I will do some overview and give you guys some context, for what to look out for, because this race this weekend, the Continental Championships, the Pan American Championships in Pleasant Prairie, they are going to be streamed live on Facebook Live via the Dare to Try Facebook page. A great organization based out of Chicago is going to be streaming at least I believe a finish line camera with some commentary on Sunday. So pop over to facebook.com and check out the Dare to Try. That's DARE, the number 2 try, TRI. Check out their Facebook page. Give them a like, so you can be tuned in, ready to watch that live stream on Sunday morning. And then triathlonlive.tv is going to be hosting the same live stream finish line camera that Dare to Try will be broadcasting on Facebook Live. And it will be streamed for free. So if you are not able to get on Facebook, you can check out triathlonlive.tv as well. But let's just dive right into it. So I really wanted to kind of explain to you guys. Look, in paratriathlon, we're divided into 6 medal events. So basically 6 races. So 6 medal events, and those categories or sport classes, as they're called, are PTWC, which is your wheelchair athletes. Then you got your PTS2, PTS3, PTS4, PTS5, and PTVI. So your visually impaired athletes are the VI, which is what I compete in. PTS2 through PTS5, those are your athletes that have severe to less severe impairments, and they go through a pretty stringent classification process through a medical board, where they are then placed in their respective categories. It's to create as level a playing field as possible. So for the 2020 Paralympics, which will take place in August 2021, we have 4 medal events per gender. So 4 medal events for the men, 4 medal events for the women. So unfortunately, two of the sport classes for each gender were left out of the games for competitive reasons, monetary reasons. I don't know all the reasons. I don't know how they select what medal events go into the Paralympics. But basically, there are 4 medal events for paratriathlon that are going to be competed per gender. So for the women, you have your PTWC, your PTS2, your PTS5, and your PTVI. Those are your classes that are going to compete in Tokyo this August. And then for the men, PTWC, PTS4, PTS5, and PTVI. That is why I am able to compete for a chance to go to Tokyo. Is because my class, the visually impaired men's class, is on the docket, and we're gonna be our sport class was selected to compete in Tokyo. Now, so there are 9 spots that are guaranteed for each sport class at the games. So 9 athletes from across the world. So we're all competing for 9 slots per sport class per gender. So that means 9 slots for PTWC men, 9 slots for PTWC women, 9 spots for PTS2 women, 9 spots for PTS4 men, 9 spots for PTS5 women, 9 spots for PTS5 men, 9 spots for PTVI women, 9 spots for PTVI men. I know that was a long explanation, but I just wanted to make it crystal clear. It's 9 slots or spots per gender per classification per sport class that we're competing for, and each country can qualify up to 2 individuals per sport class per gender. So in theory, a country could qualify up to 16 paratriathletes. I don't think any country is going to qualify all 16 potential spots. But anyway, so like I said, so for example, the United States, we can qualify up to 2 visually impaired men, and you can qualify up to 2 visually impaired women, etc., for all those sport classes. Now, so the World Triathlon, our international governing body, established the Paralympic rankings, which opened up on June 28th, 2019, and originally they were supposed to run through June 28th, 2020. However, with COVID and all that, that was extended out to. So now the Paralympic qualification window is going to close this weekend, essentially. So it's going to close on Monday. So that's why this race in Pleasant Prairie is so important for us in the United States. Is that this is the very last opportunity for us to earn qualification points toward that top 9 ranking in the Paralympic rankings. So, so we've established, you got four sport classes per gender, male and female, 9 spots per sport class, and basically we have this Paralympic ranking system. So since 2019, what we do is we take your best 3 races from during that qualification window, add them up, gives you a point total, and then that's where the rankings are, and that's what the rankings are based on. So you have basically 4 levels of races that you can compete in. In paratriathlon, you have the World Championships, and then the next level down is the WTPS, or the World Triathlon Para Series. So for those of you that either read my race report or saw across my various social media channels about WTPS Yokohama, which was the last race that I competed in over in Yokohama, Japan last month. So that was a WTPS level race. So super important, super high, basically the second highest level of racing that you can compete in the paratriathlon world. Then the next level down in terms of points from WTPS would be your Continental Championships. So this weekend is the third most amount of points that you can earn toward your world ranking and toward your Paralympic ranking, et cetera. And then the last level of racing, or the lowest level of racing, which is kind of your entry point into World Triathlon, elite level paratriathlon racing, is your World Cup, and that's the winner of that gets just slightly less points than the winner of the Continental Championships, and so on and so forth. So we've got those 4 levels of paratriathlon racing. You take your best 3 results from that combination of racing, and it all gets added in, and like we said, at the end of the qualification window, which ends on Monday, the top 9 athletes in that Paralympic ranking, those top 9 athletes in each sport class, and this is where it gets even more confusing. They do not qualify themselves for the Paralympics. So the spots, those top 9 spots, those are allocated to the country. So for example, right now, in the visually impaired men's field, you have the top 9. You have 2 athletes from Spain, 3 athletes from France, an athlete from Great Britain, an athlete from the United States, etc. So those individuals have not qualified themselves for the Paralympics. Those spots are given to the national governing bodies. So in our case, that spot is allocated to the United States, and USA Triathlon will determine, based on some certain criteria that they've laid out, who will get to represent the United States at the Paralympics. So depending on where I finish in the race on Sunday, the United States, we will likely have 2 spots confirmed for the visually impaired men's field. So that's why it's so important for me to race well this weekend, so that we get 2 spots to the Paralympics. So like I said, those spots aren't guaranteed to the individual that earns the spot. It's allocated to the country. So we're qualifying country spots, and then USA Triathlon, based on some criteria that they have formulated and laid out, they will determine over the next probably over the next week who is the best athletes. Who are the best athletes from the U.S. to represent us at the Paralympics? So I know that's very confusing, and here's basically my interpretation of how USA Triathlon is going to select the team. There's a very long document that has gone through a lot of revisions over the past year and a half or so. COVID threw a lot of wrenches into the mix, but that's life. We live and we adapt. Gotta love it. So like I said, there's this really long document and USAT laid out a series of things where they said, look, if you want to auto qualify yourself for for a spot, then you need to do this, this, and this. But if this, this, and this happens, then you don't auto-qualify yourself. So, for example, one of the ways that you could have auto-qualified for us in paratriathlon was to win the World Championships in 2019 and win the Tokyo Test event in 2019. However, if the Tokyo Test event was modified to a duathlon, then that event no longer served as an automatic selection event. So that is, in fact, what happened. So no one actually, for the U.S., has auto-qualified. Essentially, no one has auto-qualified. There's a certain number of individuals that where it'd be silly for us not to, for USA Triathlon not to put them on the team in certain sport classes. But like I said, no one has automatically qualified. So basically, what then happens is USA Triathlon will then look at another selection event, and so this weekend's race, this Pan American Championships, is selection event number 2. So it's a very heavily weighted race that USA Triathlon is looking at to determine who's going to go to the Paralympics. It's an opportunity for USA Triathlon to see how we perform under pressure, because we've known this race was going to be super important. It's USA Triathlon's opportunity to see us all compete head to head against each other, because unfortunately we don't get a lot of opportunities in paratriathlon to go head to head with our fellow Americans, or our fellow countrymen, because spots are so limited and so hard to come by in the paratriathlon fields. And I could do a whole video. You could write a whole book on how tough it is to get into paratriathlon races, from the World Championships all the way down to even just a World Cup. But the Continental Championships is a great opportunity because only people from your region, so for us, the Pan American region, so people from the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Central America, all those places, only we can compete and earn points at the Continental Championships. So that's why we can get more people into these races, and we can race head to head against our fellow countrymen, etc. So kind of gotten off track. So just to recap, so we got the 4 paratriathlon medal events. You got 9 slots per gender for each of those. Your country, you those top 9 slots in the Paralympic rankings. Those go to the country, and the United States, and each country can only qualify 2 individuals per medal event, per gender. So like I said, we have a real opportunity in the United States if we, so for the visually impaired men, we could potentially on Monday have 3 men ranked in the top 9 of the Paralympic rankings. However, only 2 of us are going to be selected to represent the U.S. at the Paralympic Games. Then USA Triathlon could, of course, submit what's called a bipartite invitation application to the International Paralympic Committee, and then the International Paralympic Committee could, in theory, invite another, a third American. Not super likely, but it's very possible. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But basically, so USA Triathlon, what they're doing is they're going to look at this race this weekend. They're going to look at all the races that we've competed in over the last couple of years, since the beginning of the Paralympic qualification window in 2019. They're going to look at all of our race results. How have we done against each other head to head? How have we done relative to international competition? et cetera, et cetera. So they're going to take all of this into consideration in deciding which athletes are the best to represent the U.S. in Tokyo. So here's the thing. I cannot tell you if I win on Sunday, or if I take second or third or fourth or fifth, or whatever place I take. I can't tell you for certain that I'm going to be named to the USA Paralympic Paratriathlon team. All we can do is do the absolute best that we can. And that's what makes it so challenging on the paratriathlon side, is that our auto selection was got really messed up through COVID and through some stuff outside of our control. So we just control what we can control, and we're just going to go out there and race to the best of our ability. But basically, in a nutshell, we're going to do our best to race, to go out there and compete for a win, and ultimately, hopefully, USA Triathlon selects us to go to the Paralympic Games. But it's a this weekend, for my race, the visually impaired men's race, it's not the only exciting race that's going down, you guys. So we got there are four sport classes that are competing for a chance to earn Paralympic slots for the United States, from the PTWC men, PTWC women, the PTS2 women, the PTS4 men, the PTS5 women, and the PTS5 men, and the PTVI men and women. So what I actually want to do over the next couple of days, and I'll start later today, I'll post up a video. I'm going to give you guys some athletes to look out for, break down the fields just a little bit. I've done videos like this in the past, where I broke down the men's and women's World Championship field for the visually impaired races a couple of years ago, and you guys seem to really love that. I won't be picking podium finishers. I don't pick races in which I'm competing. It's just not something I do. But I will give you guys some storylines and some ideas of what athletes to look out for, and all that. So, because I think it's super important that look, we need to educate you guys, our fans, so that you understand paratriathlon and the players and the athletes, and really what we're trying to do here, and how important these races are. So, like I said, later today, I'll do a quick little video breaking down a few of the storylines for the wheelchair races, and then tomorrow we'll dive into maybe the PTS 4s and 5s for the men and the PTS 5 women, or something like that. But guys, it's going to be some pretty exciting racing this weekend. So, like I said at the top of the video, pop over to Facebook, like the Dare to Try Facebook page, DARE, the number 2, try, TRI. They're going to be streaming this race live from their Facebook page, I do believe. Someone from Dare to Try, please feel free to correct me on that if that's incorrect. But I do know that triathlonlive.tv will also be streaming the race as well, using Dare to Try's feed, and you can go over to triathlonlive.tv, and that race will actually be streamed for free this weekend. So that's awesome. Thank you, Triathlon Live, for doing that. But like I said, Dare to Try, go pop over, like their Facebook page. They're going to be streaming it and having commentary, and their people are really knowledgeable about the sport of paratriathlon. They know all of us very well. So definitely give their page a like, and check out the live stream if you're not able to make it to Pleasant Prairie and watch us in person. But yeah, guys, so that's what I got for you today. Like I said, later today I'll post up a a video kind of breaking down some of the men's and women's wheelchair racing that's going to take place this weekend, so you guys get an idea of who to watch and some of the storylines that are going to be going down this weekend. Excuse me. But until then, I know this wasn't it probably wasn't the best explanation of how things work in the paratriathlon world, but I hope it gives phone falling over. I hope it gives you guys a little bit better understanding than maybe what you had before this video. But like I said, we won't know for certain who's making the Paralympic team until USA Triathlon announces that on July 6th. So, like I said, keep an eye out for those videos that I'll be posting up over the next few days, breaking down the various paratriathlon races that are going to be taking place this weekend for chances to go to the Paralympics in August. All right, guys, cheers, take care, and always keep an eye on your vision.